Three, two, one.
It didn't pick up.
Alright, good team effort. Anyways, Deviant Crimes. Let's talk about this. Before we start, I'd like to shout out our sponsors. Can't even say that for
Raid
legal.
Shadow Legends.
No, I can't even say it for legal reason. I was gonna say Greybird, but we're not gonna say that since I'm a good boy. Alright, anyways, Deviant Crimes by the Empire.
Yeah.
Dude, the Empire's screwed, bro. Like, what do we have? Let's talk. Okay, let's go from original Star Wars, right? Like what? Like episode 1 or episode 2, like from Phantom Menace or something like that.
That's not Empire. That's pre-Empire.
Yeah, that's pre-Empire. So like we're talking about like the Republic, cloning and stuff, rapid aging, and just like, oh, dude, the amount of war crimes that are just committed in Star Wars in general.
Alright, we want to start with episode 1.
Yeah.
First would be firing upon civilians.
Yes, that would be one. And when was that again?
That was in Phantom Menace when they're on Naboo. And the droids are like, Roger, Roger. They blast every single civilian in like a 2-meter radius. Well, that was the actions committed by the Trade Federation. That was an independent, it was a system of independent star systems that was trying to be independent from the Galactic Republic. That's not the Empire. Oh, that is true. But the Galactic Federation was a big part of it. Because didn't the Empire eventually build off of Federation, Separatists, and the Republic?
Yeah. No, it was kind of like the Republic and the Federation merged, more like.
Well, at the same time, that's like saying, that's like trying to like list off the war crimes of the Soviet Union, but then starting off with the German Empire because they played a major role in their founding. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, true.
Alright,
so let's see. We have mass killings of civilians. Sounds like Ukraine to me. But anyways, continuing. Episode 2. Episode 2 starts off with young Anakin and Obi-Wan. Assassination attempts on a political figure.
Leader.
Yeah. What was it? Padme Amidala?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, it was Padme Amidala.
Yeah, Padme Amidala by the Trade Federation, or aka Palpatine, actually, because secretly Palpatine is Darth Sidious. So that's pretty big there, assassination of a political figure. If you ask me.
Wait, isn't there like a crime for being like a head leader? Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Well, again, we're still kind of focusing on the Trade Federation.
Oh yeah. Not even like the Trade Federation. It's generally like how Sidious played both sides, honestly.
Okay, but when we say the Empire, that is its own entity.
Yeah.
And that's a complete separate entity from the Trade Federation. I mean, yeah, they were both controlled by the same homie, but as entities, as states, they were completely different. If you want to talk about Trade Federation, we can talk about Trade Federation. And I don't mind talking about them, is because they've committed so many crimes. They're their own category. Yeah. If we're going to talk about the Empire, we should probably talk about the Empire.
I'd say let's talk about the Empire. I'm gonna be strictly on, because the Empire, I'd say, is where it gets more interesting, if you ask me.
If you ask me, I think the beginning of the Empire would be Order 66, and that itself is a war crime beyond all war crimes.
True, Order 66, because they fired upon their own men, the Jedis.
And they slaughtered children. That's a war crime.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? Order 66 was based off a real life occurrence that happened in ancient Rome. Yeah, actually, it was based off of the uh, 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 displacement of Japanese Americans to internment camps during World War II.
I thought Order 66 was based off of the Constitutus Second Purge. Oh, Constitutus.
No, because I think it was named after Executive Order 2066. Let me look that up really quickly.
Yeah, you're right. Standing Order 66, a 1713 British Parliamentary Procedure, Execute Order 9066, an executive order ordering the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. You're right.
9066, not 2026.
Yeah, Order 9066.
All right.
They created mass murder. They also, I know it has something to do with religion. And since Jedi is like a religion, they also persecuted them of the freedom of religion. I mean, that's not really a war crime. That's like an American thing. But I think that would count as deviant, you know, killing off an entire, religion.
Yeah.
Just because, for fun.
Okay, so I'm on a list of war crimes right now. And there's a category called crimes against peace. And one of them is planning, preparation, initiation, or waging of a war of aggression, or a war in violation of international treaties, agreements, or assurances. This can play into Palpatine controlling both sides of the Galactic Civil War. Because that was essentially one gigantic war crime.
Sounds like the Rothschilds. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Political reasons, I shouldn't say. Never mind, I take that back. Continue.
And immediately under it says participation in a common plan or conspiracy for the accomplishment of any of the above. So yeah, that would be a war crime. So Palpatine controlling the Trade Federation and the Galactic Civil War in order to give rise to the Empire, that's a war crime.
Well, think about it. Did he
Actually, that's a crime against peace, but I guess that's kind of different.
Did Palpatine really control Trade Federation? Think about it.
Yeah.
All he did was
yes.
tell Count. No, but think about it. He told Count Dooku what to do and say, and Count Dooku did act out on his own without Palpatine's orders, majority of the time.
Yes, but Palpatine was the head of the Trade Federation. It was his conspiracy. I mean, yeah, sure, Dooku was the politician, but if you know Dooku was always the politician. Who better to have, as your commander in chief per se of this new Trade Federation than a fallen Jedi who fell out of the Jedi Order because of their stance on politics.
Exactly. It's, like it kind of goes back to, one must understand his enemy to defeat it type of deal. So he understands what the Jedi are offering, and he can offer something better. If they don't accept it, I mean,
Palpatine.
What's that planet?
Palpatine wasn't stupid.
My bad.
Palpatine was not stupid. He knew what he was doing, and by putting Dooku in charge, that would probably the best possible idea for him.
Exactly. But he was aware that Dooku wanted to kill him. Like, he was aware that Dooku wanted to betray him. And that's why he had him get rid of Asajj Ventress.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
The thing is,
I said he did. I said he did.
He knew that the Sith tradition was to it was the rule of two, and that the apprentice would eventually overthrow the master. He knew that eventually he was going to get overthrown by one of his apprentices. He didn't know which one, because Darth Maul got sliced in half, and then he was the one that ordered Dooku to be executed in Episode 3. But he knew that one of his apprentices was going to overthrow him, and he was right.
Yeah, but not only that, but if anything happened, Palpatine could easily just put every blame on Dooku, and he could just go like arms free because the Jedi, all they know is he's like the senator, right? Like that's what Palpatine was, a senator. So he wouldn't get in trouble. If anything happens, he could just throw everything on Palpatine. I mean Dooku, and just kind of just kind of chill.
Well, actually, at this point, he was the Chancellor because in Phantom Menace, he was elected Chancellor by the Senate. So by the time that Episode 2 ran around, he's already been Chancellor for about 10 years.
Oh yeah, because in Phantom Menace, Anakin was like little, and in Episode 2, he was like literally a Padawan to Obi-Wan, right? Like pretty grown, like a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Episode 3. What was Episode 3? The Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
That's what Order 66 had.
boy.
Okay, so just one question: Are we? I know it says war crimes, but we're also talking about crimes against humanity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because deviance is also part of it, as well as war crime, deviance, and like all above crimes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're doing that, murder, that's the top one for crime against humanity. Let's see. Persecutions on political, racial, or religious grounds. The Jedi were at this point both political and religious. In execution of or in connection with any crime within the jurisdiction of the tribunal, whether or not in violation of the domestic law of the country where perpetrated. So, Order 66 is a war, is a crime against humanity, like above all crimes against humanities.
It is, yeah. I mean, literally slaughtered so many countless Jedis and their Padawans. I mean.
Oh, and the killing of children, I believe, would also be a war crime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a war crime. I mean, yeah, that literally you're killing children.
Anakin alone committed multiple crimes during that entire episode: domestic abuse, attempted murder, genocide, treason, military insubordination, first-degree murder, mass murder, disobeying eject order, losing its weapon, and reckless driving. If you didn't know, that was a big one. I don't know why.
Reckless driving?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like Episode 2 when he's like jumping, like he like jumped off the like the speeder and like falling down Coruscant?
Yeah, that would be one of the times. But in the comics, he also recklessly drove.
Reckless driving is a war crime.
It's not necessarily a war crime, but it's part of the deviance portion.
Got you.
But yeah, I guess you would say treason, genocide, and military insubordination would be when he attempted everybody's life at Order 66 and actually proceeded to do so.
Yeah. That literally sums up Episode 3 in a nutshell.
Oh, no, it does not. We're not even done yet. He also
I agree.
to... What?
I agree with you. This is. Wait, is that Aiden or is that?
Yeah,
Josh?
it's Aiden. It's Aiden.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. This is like barely scratching the surface. I mean, the movie's called Revenge of the Sith, for God's sake.
Yeah, he goes to what is the planet where he gets cut up on? Like he gets dropped
Mustafar.
Mustafar, that's right. When he goes to Mustafar, he overthrows a government through, again, another set of murder, and he also genocides almost. Oh, actually, does he kill the entire Techno Union?
Yeah, he does.
He does?
He does.
Yeah. He genocided Techno Union as well and overthrew an entire government. He also proceeded to kill innocent civilians on Mustafar, like innocent workers there, just because they reminded him of all the Sith and people he's harmed, because he thinks that anybody who worked with the bad guy, well, the bad guys in his eyes, were bad in general. So he did kill a whole bunch of innocent people. Like, Savi, we haven't even...
Alright, well, that's cool enough, but you gotta realize, we gotta like skip through because we're barely scratching the surface and we're already 15 minutes in.
Okay, so let's move on to. Should we
Episode.
move on to Rebels, or should we move on to the original trilogy?
I'd say let's stick with trilogy. We shouldn't hop off because I don't think Mr. Lee has watched like Rebels and all that stuff yet.
Okay.
All right, so episode 4.
So,
That's the.
Alderaan.
Okay, we want to start Alderaan. Does
Era,
planetary
Rogue One.
destruction count as its own
Yes.
like
100%.
category?
100%.
The war crime of all war crimes.
No, can we talk
You
about.
blew up a planet, bro.
No, I'm pretty sure episode 4. Can we talk about how incest was a thing?
No, that was episode 5. Wait, no, she did kiss him on the cheek.
Yeah, that was episode 5 when they go
can we
on
talk about
Hoth.
How they were catching feelings for each other, Luke and Leia.
Yeah, but incest, like family marriage, was legal in Star Wars.
No, my
Incest
guy.
isn't a war crime.
Yeah, that's just
Incest is still pretty bad.
Incest is legal in a number of states.
we're talking about how the Empire committed mass military treason and insubordination against their own people when they blew up the planet in Rogue One, and then on again same movie because Rogue One and that movie are connected.
But incest
They
is
also
still pretty bad.
blew up Alderaan. We're not going to talk about all those innocent people that died. You want to talk about incest?
Yes.
Fine then. Okay, Savi. Incest, yeah, it was a pretty bad thing. Luke kissed his sister.
Exactly.
That's it.
Or actually, his sister kissed him, but
If anything, he got sexually harassed and then thought it was cool because you can't get sexually harassed as a guy. His sister committed deviance on him.
Oh, I got one from. I got one for episode 4.
Yeah.
Tortured Princess Leia because they had that ball homie. It was like supposed to like inject stuff into her or something. You want to make her talk?
I want to talk. Oh, if we're going to talk about it, I want to go into detail with that because, in my opinion, I actually think that the droid, they didn't do anything wrong. They just gave her a truth serum. They didn't sit there and like actually beat the like crap out of her or like psychologically torture her. All they did was inject her with a serum that'd make her tell her the truth.
That's still pretty bad, though. They injected a
I'm not
substance
saying
in her. I'm pretty sure isn't that a war crime, Nathan? No, that's a war crime, right, Nate?
That's not
Wait
a
a
war
minute.
crime.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
You're injecting something into your prisoner of war. You can't do that.
Well, she's not at war with them. She's a politician.
That makes it worse. They capture a politician, drug them, and they make them confess.
So, if they injected her with truth serum, why do they still not know that the rebel base was at Yavin 4? Why were they all surprised when they found out that she lied and said that it was at Dantooine?
Because the truth serum, she didn't actually know where the base is. Remember, Senator Organa did.
Yeah, that's what
They used the truth serum on her thinking that she would know, but what really happened was she ran all of her information through Organa, and Organa just told her, like, feedback. They never actually discussed the location and whereabouts.
Well, clearly she did, because how did the Millennium Falcon get to Yavin 4?
There was no Yavin 4. There was no Yavin 4.
Bro, what do you mean? That was where the rebel base was. They showed it in the movie.
Oh, wait, not Yavin. Oh, I meant to say Alderaan. Because remember, they originally went to Alderaan after they got Luke and stuff. That's my fault.
So what they did was they were like, yo, this is Alderaan. This is a big-ass laser. If you don't tell us where the rebel base is, we're going to blow up your planet. It's like, well, damn, it's at Dantooine. And they're like, oh, cool. Blow it up anyway. And then they were all surprised that when they found out that Dantooine is not actually the rebel base.